Scott, what do you like most about your team right now going into the playoffs?
Mindset. I think they've kind of figured out what kind of team they are, and I think we've. The funny thing, we've played pretty well through the last 6 games, but I think I've said it most of the year. We've played pretty well. We're just getting rewarded with some wins right now, but I like our mindset. Our goalie's playing well, which is a good place to start. But the kids have kind of embraced what they are.
What do you feel this team is? What is it these kids feel they are, the identity of this team is going into the postseason?
Well, I think they understand how, number one, you have to play well defensively. Number two, we're not a high-powered offense. We have to work hard for our offensive chances and keep doing the things that you need to do to score. And I just like our second, third efforts and plays right now. And but again, it's such a fine line. I mean, we've played well most of the year, except maybe offensively and finishing chances. And had we done that earlier, we'd probably be in a different position. But I'll give the kids a lot of credit. I mean, there's been some frustration through the year. There's been times where they could quit and they haven't, and they've just kind of pulled together and found a way to play better hockey here in the last month.
That mindset and identity the team recognizes they have now, how does that compare to what you guys opened the season with?
Well, I think number one, they're a little more confident group, just like we were when we started, and I think we lost a little bit of that through the course of the year with losing some games that we felt we should win, and those things add up over time. But that's why I give the guys a lot of credit. Like you can go one of two ways, and you know what, this group's found a way to kind of pull through it and play better, and we're still not where I think we need to be or could be, but we're getting there. And the most important thing is those guys have gained some confidence within the room, and that's showed, I think, in just probably the last few weekends. And when you win those games, that's the reward. And hopefully, we know what we need to do. We got to continue to win, and they gave themselves an opportunity to get home ice and play at home, and we need to take advantage of that.
Scott, I know you don't want to play more than one game at a time, but is there some similarities with this team and the team that won it all? I mean, you had a little fade in that year, and then you came back really strong and had the great finish, and you're playing at about a peak right now, aren't you?
Maybe a little bit, John. I mean, I'm just happy for our guys, I think, because I think there was a lot of times where, certainly through the month of January, it wasn't a lot of, I won't say it wasn't fun, it wasn't as much fun, because of some of the things that had gone on. And but again, I'm a big believer adversity makes you stronger, and this group has stuck together and kind of pulled together here, and hopefully it's going to be enough to keep playing hockey for a while.
Sweeping that series at St. Cloud seemed to put you right up at your peak, and you've maintained that.
Yeah, I think coming out of the North Dakota weekend, we felt, even though we lost those games, and I know this has been talked about before, that we felt we played kind of more playoff hockey. It was very competitive. The games could have gone either way. But I don't think we came out of there with the frustration that maybe a lot of people would think, considering things hadn't been going great up until that point. But we had a good week of practice, and like I said, I think our guys kind of realized a little bit more of what we need to do, and kind of, again, the identity. Sometimes teams take on an identity early, sometimes they don't take on one at all, and I think this group has slowly gravitated to that, and they understand what they need to do.
Defensively, who do you feel has really stood out, not just back at defense, but also forward?
Our goalie. I mean, it starts there. Well, it starts there. I mean, it starts there. But I think if you look at over the course of the year, we've been a pretty consistently good defensive team. We haven't given up a ton of shots. Obviously, when we weren't winning games when we were out shooting and out chancing teams. We were, when you're not scoring goals, every mistake and every goal is magnified, and sometimes that's hard to take. But I think collectively our guys have done a good job. I think we've gotten better. We talked about it at Christmas with even rush coverage and back checking and making sure we're playing more of a 200-foot game. I think our guys have done a better job with that. But it starts in net. When you have a goalie that you're very confident is going to make the first save and make that key save, it's their job as the other 5 guys to make sure there's no second and third chances. And I think our guys have done a good job of that. Especially, I know St. Cloud, certainly we did a good job of that, especially Friday, even when they had 50 shots.
Offensively, we talked throughout the year, you're putting all these shots on net, you're taking 75, 80 shots a game, sometimes even more than that, and nothing seems to be working. Is there something to be said for kind of dialing it back a little bit and grinding teams down defensively and generating better chances than what you were getting before?
Well, I think so, Bruce. I mean, again, it kind of goes back to figuring out that identity, right? And it's nice to come out and think you're a high-powered offense that's going to score 4, 5, 6 goals a game. We have a team in our league that's done that pretty consistently in St. Cloud. Our team needs to win games, 2-1, 3-1, 3-2, and I said earlier 3 is a magic number, but and I think when you kind of realize that and you kind of have to play to that type of game. I think our guys have done a good job with kind of buying into that a little bit more, and I think that's helped. And, I think that's been a part of the reason, but there's no question. And this time of the year, too, I mean, as the second half goes on, everybody gets better. Teams tighten up defensively. You're going to be in those games, very similar to what we saw Saturday against Miami. It's going to be that type of series. It's going to be those are going to be the types of games you're going to be in a lot of. Where there's not a lot of room on the rink, and you got to fight through some things, and teams, are playing well defensively, and goalies are playing well. So I think that's just the way it is this time of the year.